Actually, don't need my headset because I cannot hear you right away. But if you ask to be able to talk, I will enable that. That's our agreement, remember? So hello, Alan, Asher, Charles, Christian. So I won't bother you with my maybe mistaken spelling of the names, but instead I will say hello. So I'm going on chat and I'm saying hello. And you can all reply with exactly what you did. Shin. Hello from Houston, or hello from wherever you are. You can tell me where you are, and I will share the screen, give you the link, and we can go. Now, the class is right here. I mean, the link is right here. And I'm giving you that link. And I'm giving you the bit.ly link so that you can type it, even if you cannot copy and paste it. So I'm going back to chat and I'm giving you that link. Santiago, how nice. All right. So let me do this for a second. I will stop my video. Okay, I'm back. And I'll explain what we're doing. So that's a webinar that for people who are new here, we're discussing whatever I saw new that week, and every time it is something very exciting and something new. It started about 2 years ago, more than that, and it goes down. You can see every time that we ran and what we discussed. And how am I different from all others is that I try all of that. So it's very practical. I even revealed secrets accidentally or on purpose. And our materials are all right here. But lately I have not been adding any great materials. Instead, I just add a link that maybe doesn't work, but that works in class. So that's what I do. I look at what is interesting new, and then I do the next step. So the first step, what is interesting? The next step is additional materials. But the third step is the learning plan. And guys, by now it includes 50 items. That's the learning plan. Now, if you need that particular link, you can all start from one that I gave you. So I see assistants, that's wonderful, but these are not people, so I don't need to answer right away. Okay, what I see here is the last two lines is what we will be discussing. The new courses that came out today, I mean this week, are 2. And sometimes there are even 3. That's amount of knowledge. Talking about that knowledge, I like to quote from Andrew Ng, this guy. And he said something very interesting about a week ago, which is very relevant to what we do. And he said that, guys, I'm giving you a course in programming, and now he said, I'm changing my mind. 10 years ago, if you ask me, should you learn programming, I will answer no. Because programming was a skill needed for programmers. But according to his point of view now, it is probably a requirement for every person in the world. Now, that's very prejudiced towards people who don't program. I agree. But that's what it seems the world has turned to do. And Andrew proves it. He proves his point by publishing courses. So that's what we will be talking about, publishing courses And why does he say it is recommended to program? Well, number one is because it's so easy, and he builds courses that are including AI. So we'll be talking about this. So the courses include AI as everything, as your teacher in addition to the trainer, as a subject matter, as a third screen on your screen, a third window on your screen. Okay, so let's go. Let us start. Here we are. That's what we're going to talk about today. And let me give you a little overview of what we'll talk about, and then let's start. So first, we will look at Google new course, and I'll talk about that. Then we will talk about Andrew Ng new course about programming, and then I will show you something interesting in the way how I personally will be building a scalable AI. With all of that, I think we're ready to start. So again, the rules of behavior is that you can say anything you want, but I cannot allow you to talk because robots take over and they begin screaming bad things. So that's why you need to say, I want to talk. In other words, here in the chat, if you want to talk, please ask. Okay, that's all you need to do. Okay, let's start. So Google published a course, and they published this course with the help of Andrew Ng, because that's a popular thing to do now. Create a new course, ask Andrew, will he publish it? And the course is about this. The example that they give is, let's say you make a picture of your microwave oven, make a snapshot on your camera, and you also make a picture of sweet potato, and then you add text. So you're adding a few things. You're adding one picture, then you're giving it another picture, and then you're saying some words. Well, that's today you can do. You can do this. That will be a model that can not only talk, but it can also see. It will see the image and it will do something. In this case, it will say, oh, it's a nice microwave oven you got there, and that's a potato that asks to be cooked, and therefore that's what you should do, and it will teach you how to cook your potato. So it can accept multiple things. It can accept text. It can accept music, images, and that's why it's called not LLM anymore, but LLMM. And the second M stands for multi-model. Now, let's go. Let's look at the course. That's the course. I'm not going to start it because you all have the link. I will only go through the course. Now, one unusual thing, all these courses is that they come with code. This time, they just don't give you any code. So if you go through that, you will only see the person talking, you will see the person coding, you will see the results, but you will not be able to copy and paste. So what are they going to cover? They are, and that's Google, so they use the Gemini model. There is an introduction to that. Obviously, it tells you how you can talk to that. And then how you do multimodal prompting. And multimodal prompting is exactly that. You give it the text, you give it the images, you ask for reaction. That's a bit new. That's a bit new compared to what we've been doing so far. So they give you some best practices on what's the good way to talk to a model that can see. And then they start thinking of, okay, I didn't have it before. So what would be a good use case? They give you a couple use cases and show more. Now, my personal opinion. I'm talking about Google, and Google is very big and probably knows what I'm saying. So I'll try to be careful, but I'm amazed. You know, it's so weak compared to all the courses. Let's go back to our list. Here is our list of recommended things to learn and to know. And we said that according to Andrew Ng, they really are recommended for everybody. And you can do amazing things with ChatGPT and other models. And both courses that Google published are just very weak. They lose by comparison. I talked to some of my friends, and they spoke to some of the people inside of Google. So that's purely my personal opinion. But I think Google lost its module, and they're so much afraid that that somebody will pull the plug. What's the plug? Obviously, Google depends upon advertising. They are not diversified like Microsoft. The Microsoft is everywhere about anything, and Google is mostly getting its money from the advertisement. That's very dangerous. And so they're scared that somebody will pull that plug, and therefore nobody takes any initiative. Nobody is bold enough to do something unusual. And if you only do the usual things, then they are weak. So that's the second course. You're welcome. Here is the link. Play with it, but there are two courses from Google, and they are, the second one is pair programming. So you can do your coding together with ChatGPT, except that here you'll be using the Google model. Again, I'm sorry to say, but I'm not impressed. Okay, with that, let's do the next step. And by the way, you're welcome to disagree. I really look for people who will tell me I'm completely missing the picture. The next one is Andrew Ng. So he already told us that it's easy to program with the AI with ChatGPT, and therefore nobody should refrain from doing this. This course we did get. Here is how you run basically all of the courses that you see here. What you do is you first go to that link. I'm going to that link. Now, that is the course itself. That is the copy of the course downloaded, tried, verified. In fact, you see what's going on here. It says the first layer, and that's our first person who downloads and verifies. She puts done. Okay. When she puts done, I'm expected to start playing with it. And that should be here. And I'm copying that and putting that here. And then it's not accepted as yet. It's in progress. Okay. So that's how we go it. And now we have one more intern. She's not working here anymore. Right now, she's not. So there will be just two people in the acceptance process, but that will be something that should work. So what you do is clone the whole repository. Okay, I will open it here. I will show you where to clone from. That's the repository you clone, and I have already cloned it. So I go there, go to that place where I cloned it, and it is this repository. Now you see all of them here. You see number 50. That's the latest and greatest here. And then you go into that one. Go into that one. After you do this, there will be two files for you. There will be how to run the very first time and how to run that particular lab so it doesn't conflict with the other 49. Let us open it. Let's open how to run first time. Now, I honestly have already done it for you, so you don't have to. But let's go real quick. So you go into this directory and then you do the installation commands. It works for her. I just verified it works for me. It should work for you too. And what you do is create your own private version of Python libraries. That's what you do. You do in virtual environment. That is something that people do when they do Python. If you're not familiar, just copy and paste. But you need to know that what you do is create your own environment just for that lab and install only those labs. So you do that. You install that environment, you source it. After that, you are in that environment, and I have already done that too. I'll go to that window where I have done it, but I'll continue telling you what you need to do. So you need to install the right thing, and then you need to go back to this installation instruction, and you will come to that place right here. You need an API key. So that is an API key to run on OpenAI, to run on ChatGPT, and that is what I'm not giving to you right now, okay? Because you'll have to obtain it. Now, once in a while, when I'm running my class, I obtain it. Let me show you how you would do it. You need to go into Open Platform. I think it's Platform. Okay? Platform OpenAI. That's where you go. And every lab will tell you where do you get these keys. That one just needs one more key, and here you are. So you go to your account. If you are not logged in, you can log in. In my case, I'm logged in. And then there must be a place where you store all these keys. Let's see, my profile, okay? In my profile, I must see the key. Where are they? Right here, use the API keys. Well, that's multiple keys. They are very careful about storing them and not showing them to other people. When you need a new key, you simply create a new key. Where's the link? There you are. Create a new simple key. So I could say, let us do this key. Let's say demo key. And it will give you the key, copy, paste. Then after the class, I would have to delete it. Now, in my case, I don't really need it, so I'm careful to remove it right away, revoke it. Now, if you don't do it, if you're putting it into the code, forgetting it, and pushing it into the repository, they will invalidate it the very next second. That is because OpenAI is closely connected to Microsoft. Microsoft owns Git, so they have it worked out to the level of 1 second. Other people have it a little bit slower, but everyone implemented that. So I have my key. The key is somewhere here, right? And I do have that key in the .env file. That's where it is. So I have my .env, except that I'm sorry that I'm not giving you that key. Besides, this is also recorded. So anybody can go and find it later on. Okay, I'm not doing that. But instead, I'm going to the place where I can run. So let's stop it and let's restart. So we're in the directory 50, and all we need to do is to say Jupyter Lab, and it will open for you in the browser. Okay, in the browser, you will see all the lessons, and I'll show you how it works. You can do the same thing. So what we added to Andrew's source code is that all these entries, you'll see additional journal entries, additional data, and especially helper functions. They are usually not seen when you just watch the show. You don't see these helper functions. What you need to do is you need to go to the show. So let me really go to the show here, right? And then that's where we are looking at all of the courses. In all these courses, there is a link to the class, and now I clicked on the our repository. That's the link to the class. So when you click on that, in particular, I get directly to the course. You will get to the login into the course, and you can see then his code. So you need to wait a little bit. It's loading right now. Sometimes I click on that and maybe speed it up. I don't think that's important. Yeah, it's not important. Okay, that's the code, and you can download it. To download, you say download download as. And you downloaded as Python notebook right here. Okay, so it goes into download. I can in fact go there into that folder and show it to you that yes, indeed, it does work this way. Well, that is not telling you anything interesting. Let me open the download. That's the download, that's with the course. But of course, you cannot do anything with that lab because it is just a binary file, not very interesting. So I already opened it from the Jupyter Notebook, and to achieve that, all you need to do is follow my instructions. Now that you are there, you can open lesson 1, and we will go through all of them just to see what is going on. Okay, so Andrea teaches you how to program in Python, but it's always 3 people in the room. Person number 1 is you, person number 2 is me, person number 3 is the AI. In fact, his AI, his UI includes AI. So I think from now on, it will be a standard. All right, now before we go too far, well, maybe I should at least run a little bit and then continue. Okay, let's run. Let's see what he does. So what we're going to do is the second step in learning Python with AI. So first you get some helper functions, and then you get some text. And the text, write a 4-line birthday poem for my friend, Tommy. The poem should be inspired by the first letter of the friend's name. Now, that's not your first hello world, right? That's your first hello world AI. Let's do it. Now, to run it, you need to either click right here. Let's run. So I'm coming back and I'm saying run. Or you can hold the shift key. I'm going back. Shift key and hitting enter, and it runs. Well, let's read it. Talented Tommy, and you remember the first letter of the poem should be starting with his name. So talented Tommy, full of cheer, on this day let's raise a cheer. Well, that's not brilliant. That's not what's the famous? Now is the winter of our solitude. That's not Shakespeare, okay? But it rhymes, okay? May your birthday be bright and clear, year ahead filled with joy sincere. I think that kids can do such a poem for their dad's birthday when they're 5, maybe. Well, it's not brilliant that way, but it works. That's the amazing thing. It works, and I can give it more to do. But what I find very interesting is that what he is teaching is active use AI and not just coding. Now, I wanted to show you that it really works. You can download it, play with it, and you will be learning Python at the same time that you are getting used to playing with AI. Well, I'm going to have my personal experience with that. I'm going to teach next week. I'm going to teach at a university where they teach the army people. So they tell me these are sailors. I'm going to that university. Which university? Okay, it is some Maryland University. How did I get there? It's hard to say, but I'm going to teach in person after 4 years of not going anywhere. And I will also visit my favorite museum, Washington Gallery. But what's interesting is that I asked the big question, guys, I'm teaching on behalf of the university, so you can't ignore a big elephant in the room. We are in the world of AI. My students, they can ignore all exercises, just copy paste them into the ChatGPT, and that will output the wonderful code. So is that okay or no? And you can't ignore that question. I got an answer. The answer was, well, yes, of course they can do it. But will it be useful? Well, on the code. The answer in the was on the code. That's what we're using here today. The university tells you you will get more use out of that if you use it. Don't try to block it. And that's only in class. Right now, when you get out of class, I'll be just the opposite. I will say, did you use AI? No, going back and use it. Because in practical life, you will be using it non-stop. Well, I will give you a report next week. Wow. Swapna has a great question, but what I will do is I will leave the answer to that for just a few minutes later. Right now, just a very interesting to me, that we will be learning with AI still in the background, even though we're not teaching exactly the end way, and we will be living in a new world of AI, yes, AI. But back to what we are seeing is that there is a new way to learn Python, and that is more fun. And what he does is, okay, I want to teach a loop. So yes, we're doing a loop, but what we're going in the loop is not 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're doing different AI tasks in each step of the loop. Okay, so we see it, let's try it for just for fun. Let's see, we know how you do loops. Loops you do for. This is a list of tasks. So Python is very easy readable. You see a list of tasks, so that's what it is, a list of tasks, and it has 3 tasks. And then you say for, where's my for? Here. For each task in the whole list, print the task. So let's do it. But don't just print it, print the answer. Print not just that word, that would be old style Python teaching. Print the answer of AI for that, okay? So you do one task, you do another task, and you do a third task. Well, tell me, what do you think? On the scale of 1 to 5, 1 is low, and 5 is high. Tell me, do you like it? Do you like the new style of teaching? Teaching CH, how to code. I'll wait a little. Okay, while you're thinking of the answer, I'll tell you that at the most advanced universities, they've already changed the style of teaching. And they don't give the little tasks code this little loop. Instead, they understand that you can and should use AI to do that. What they teach is architecture and testing. Because you can tell it what to write, but will it work or no? That, of course, is a very open question. And so that's the style most advanced universities take. And if you're interested, I'll show you the IEEE Engineering Society article about that. All right, but let's look a little bit more at that. And what else does Andrein want to teach us? So, okay, prioritizing tasks with dictionaries. Dictionary is just a list of key value pairs. That's a dictionary. Here, that's an entry in a dictionary, mint chocolate chip, refreshing mint. But again, he will not just write this dictionary and go in a loop. Instead, he will be adding and updating elements and using AI to catalog the AI answers. I think that's pretty much tells you how it works. And what bothers me is that you guys didn't say, do you like it or no? But I hope you hear me, otherwise you would say something. All right, let's just look a little quickly. Let's look at what else is in the course. Customizing recipes with lists. So going just a little bit more, but again, it's always AI. Lesson 5, comparing data in Python. But again, AI is part of that. that. No, one lesson without AI for a change, just to prove the point. Okay, somebody answered something. 4, you say it's good. Julia, wonderful. Okay, so it's almost perfect. All right. Well, I will tell you what do the sailors. I have 9 in the class. I'll tell you what the sailors think. That's a very amazing story. But the university, they have an agreement with the army, so that's why I'll be teaching them. But one of the person they say is civilian, and that's because they opened the enrollment to everyone, and they wonder how did that one civilian get in. But I guess anybody can. Okay, I think I have probably picked up your curiosity. You will probably go and look at that. And I will go here. So I wanted to show you Google New Class and multi-modal prompting, which means you can add images and other media stuff, which essentially you can do with other models as well. For example, ChatGPT, there is a place to upload. Then I showed you, okay, here's what the new style of teaching coding altogether, that's what it looks like. But the last thing I wanted to show you is my personal development. That's what I'm doing. For that, I'm clicking on the link. It opens for me, okay, it will not open for you. So to be honest, I will do this. I will open this image. That's the image that I need. Yes. No, I won't download it. It's recorded anyway, but I'll show you what the current state of affairs in AI indexing and what it will be. So the current state of affairs, not in all, but let's say a discovery, and you want to investigate terabytes of data. So every lab that you see, every AI lab will allow you to just upload a few hundred pages to ChatGPT. What if you are dealing with a lot of data? For that, you use an open source tool called Free. It's my open source tool. And you do this. You ingest it, so you open it, you use Tika. Now we're getting real. Use Tika that can process 1,400 different formats. It will also do OCR for you, optical character recognition. So you'll do that and you end up with all text. That text, of course, is a reg model. That's popular choice. And with that, you can ask questions about your documents. Well, that's all well and good. That's how it works right now. What if people need terabytes of data and they come back to you and say, yeah, good, works, the lab works, but takes me a few days to process, and that's not acceptable. Now, not acceptable not only because I don't want to wait, but because something will inevitably break in the middle. That's so. What I change, and I call it Piranha, is this. I distribute the jobs between multiple machines. It's in parallel. It's not hard to distribute the jobs. Actually, I have a way to prepare it for Spark. And then you need to change a few more things. You probably need all of the other components to scale up. Okay, that's right here. So you need a few things that you will have to scale. And you have here my statement that we'll do it in 2 weeks. Well, will we do it in 2 weeks? So no, that we will have to see. But instead of using Solid that we're doing now, I will be using Elasticsearch just because it's more scalable and because you can run it as a service on Azure. But it should be scalable keyword search because a keyword search is part of any AI. Then you need to read your data, but this time you'll have to read your data from some kind of cloud solution. So the obvious thing is put every file in its bucket. At least that would work, but it will be pretty slow. So instead of those questions mark today, I'll put something else next week. then you also need to write it somewhere. Our current solution writes it out into a zip file, which of course is not scalable and not stable. So again, next week I'll show you something else. Then right now, if it writes it out into a zip file and puts all the texts in the zip file, it works for small data, but you need something else. You need a database that will store each result. And of course, for that, you need a NoSQL database because you want very fast processing, very fast writes. And finally, right now, there's sadly no distribution at all. You need distributed on multiple machines. And right now, I'm planning to use Spark, but by next week, I'll know if that worked. My prototype does work, but we will need something much bigger, and maybe we will use a queue. Any cloud has a queue. That's the plan. So that is this one. This one, how to do a really scalable AI. If it works, then next week I'll show you the implementation plan, and a week from now, promised deliver. Okay, now let's go to the question. We had a great question there, and the question was, any resources to learn about Raptor, recursive processing, and for tree organized retrieval? That sounds very, very interesting. So I think that I can do the first thing. I can Google. I see the paper. That's great. Now, did anybody implement it as yet? That I don't know. So what I will do is this. I'm copying this. I'm putting it for our next week discussion. Here, there will be a Raptor. And it does sound interesting. Now, another reason why it sounds interesting is because I'm working on the National Science Foundation proposal for that kind of thing. Not exactly, but I also want to understand the data sources, public data sources that are currently available, and then I want them in a graph, in a tree organized retrieval graph, so or semantic graph really. So that's coming tomorrow, and all of that is kind of open research. That's why I'm talking about that freely. So that will be the next session. I'm making a copy. And that will be September 6th. So that's what we will do next time. And obviously some more things. Right now, I'll stop talking. I will allow you to ask questions. Okay, if you give it a minute, somebody will ask something. When Nicholas, great question, because everyone likes to talk about his first. Okay, so in my case, I'm a corporate trainer. I teach 4 different organizations through my company, and one of them said, well, what new can you teach us? So I taught a course. I'll show you exactly which course I taught. So Elephant Scale, that's company that I teach for. And if you go into the courses, you will see Hugging Face. Well, I taught that course, but People were not asking for more. It happened on May 10, 2023. And somehow I expected everybody will be desirous and wanting to learn more, and they didn't. So what could I do? I wanted to learn. I wanted you guys to keep pushing me. And so I continued doing this. I continued listening to what's new. And there are different approaches to that. You can find them online. My personal approach was, I think the newsletter from Andrew Ng was good enough. So far, I think most of my information comes from there. But then you can have a few people on Twitter who will teach you. But in any case, what I did was start this webinar and show all the new things. And that forced me into trying it, not just showing, but trying. And that's how I got involved, Nicholas. Is that your question? All right. So okay, good question, Juan. I'll answer that. I only want to support my first answer is that it is easy. As Andrew Ng shows in the last course, programming and anything else technical is nowadays easy, just as ChatGPT. What is not easy is keep doing this, because I have to do a couple courses to the right level of depth, but I have to do it every week. So as a self-help book, I remember, tells that you can become an athlete in 1 minute, and that 1 minute just decide, and then it's a lifetime of exercise. Juan, what do you think about using open source LLM to generate code? Great. And especially, for example, Terraform code. The answer is that I did it. I had a specific task. I needed a Terraform code. Since I'm showing, I'll show you exactly that. So I needed Terraform code to prepare me for my class and create a few virtual machines for my students. So here you are. IntelliJ is where I run it. Let's say I'm going to exactly that. So it will be recent projects, utils. I think it's opening right now. Opening. It takes it some time. Right here. And I already had, that's your Terraform, and that is my main. And it was already working on Amazon. What I needed is Azure right here. So it wrote the code. I said, create virtual machines. The code for Azure was different from Amazon. I couldn't understand it, so I just ran it. It almost ran, but didn't quite, because it couldn't give every machine its IP. All right, so I just copied and pasted the error. 3 steps later, I was almost there. But almost. My practical experience was in the end, it just couldn't. There was a principal error that it was making. So it seems like it's very hard to do it, that specific task, creating multiple machines, multiple virtual machines with different AI IPs on the Azure, but it's much easier on every other cloud. Well, in the end, I have to say that it failed. ChatGPT, much as we praise it and promote it, but it failed. It just couldn't do it. There was one thing it was not understanding. but today AI is limited in what it can do, and what it cannot do is be a genius. Okay, maybe that will come, but that will be another interesting development. Okay, I hope that was the answer you were looking for. So in general, yes, and Terraform, yes, and it will work. I'm going back to the chat wherever it is. Okay, great. But sometimes be ready to the fact that maybe it's not smart enough and it doesn't get the architecture of Azure that precludes you from doing what you want. In general, though, yes, for absolutely anything. That's how I became kind of a Python programmer, but just copy pasting the code with ChatGPT. And then you need to really understand that's what AI is incapable of doing right now. And maybe that's a philosophical question. Will it ever be? Great. So really loved it. And thank you very much for asking these questions. Okay, you know the drill. If you want to ask a question, here's my email. You can ask those questions offline, or you can ask them now here. But if not, I wish you all the best. Guys, have a great weekend and a great week and a great year. See you next time.